Hello and welcome to this first episode. Do tell me how you're finding the league. I personally find the league enjoyable and annoying. But as you can see, we started off the usual way. We will get into the Affliction zone, how best to go about it, how not to do it, and also we'll have a look at what I'm doing, and do let me know any improvements to my build or anything that you suggest. Now, we did start with Freezing Pulse and Spark. We switched to Absolution and get some zombies and stuff, and as you will see, we get in some real luck. Now, this is Affliction, obviously. The first time you enter, you go in, and I don't recommend that anyone goes in quite early. Not until you're actually able to either take damage or do damage, or both. And obviously nervous as, and that guy is an issue to early game, but he's perfectly normal once you can do damage. There's only really one particular part of it that you really should stay away from at most times, and that's the purple flower witch. That can kill you in one shot, and I have seen other people die from it as well, and they're very tanky. Now, one thing I will say is do not interact with the mechanic in an area where you have to take out a boss or a creature or anything like that. You'll see in a little bit I actually do, and I find out it's a terrible idea. And we look around, by the time I hit around Act 6, I found the NPCs 4 or 5 times. I did make a short about how best go about that in my experience, but by the end of the campaign I did find them 10 plus times, and other point of interest, quite easy. Brutus was a bit harder than usual. I'm not sure whether the numbers have changed, but the ramping up to be able to deal with damage and everything seemed a little harder this league. And Brutus is just Brutus. He either behaves or doesn't. He wasn't really caring for my totem as much as I would like, so I had to run around a bit, but we were all cool. 90% of my deaths were actually from within the league mechanic, trying to learn all that and everything. The others were either resistances I didn't care enough about, or I didn't upgrade my armor and weapons well enough. A couple of times it was either I made a mistake or the Catava burning ground. My first death actually came from in the climb. I was sneezing and took my eyes off screen and got surrounded. So that ended that sort of no death up until that point. And I did die during that fight, but I got swarmed by the red guys. Now, as you can see, this guy is 1 tanky and 2 deals a lot of damage. You'll see in a second. And I'm dead. And watch when I go at the situation and how tanky this guy is. Now, this guy's tanky normally. This guy was 100 times tankier with the 2 Affliction bonuses. And you can see we can take out everything else. This guy, he's not having any of it. And this is why I said don't do anything if you have a boss or something. This guy, Literally took over 5 minutes to take care of him, and he only has one of the affliction bonuses. Just the extra tankiness they get from that, it's not worth doing it unless you're later on and you feel confident, or don't bother until after you've done the campaign. Because yeah, if you do the affliction well, and everything gets a good buff, you could end up having to reset the entire region by control clicking on the area, just in case you didn't know or forgot, and you have to do the whole region again. As you can see, we take care of Lyra very simple. A little bit of issue because early on, well, pretty much always until you get end gear and you got life and everything, you're quite squishy. And Oak, arguably the hardest of the 3 bandits, because he's got the regen and he keeps moving a little more than the first one. He's going down pretty easy as well. So stay away from the league mechanic in areas where you know you got to fight a boss or do the creatures or anything like that. Now this is one of the things. I was actually trying to get the Warlock. I ended up getting the Huntress. No, the Earl, whatever her name is. But I could have got it earlier in the campaign than I actually did, because I actually wanted that other one. I just wasn't getting it. I was getting the others. So I actually got behind in the getting the second ascension from her, purely because I was going for something else. And this is a labyrinth, and we're slightly over because of the league mechanic. It is good for getting over leveled, if that's what you want. And then not exactly sure how to get all the extra keys. I don't really care for the most part. I just want to live, get through the ascension. I haven't even googled how to. That's how much I don't care. But yeah, here's pretty much not an issue. And if you base that on the affliction powered mobs, that's how tanky they can get just by engaging with the league. Because you can have a hard time, get killed easy, and then you can take on a boss 10 times easier than a rare that's empowered. And this, we got a couple of keys. Didn't necessarily get anything good. Got some stuff to sell at least, and this is where we get a little lucky. Now, I'm wondering what I should use. I decide, use the skeletons. It comes up with Ice Spear and Ray Zombie of Slammin'. Now, it comes up with any that's the same color. So actually I got really lucky with the actual Ray Zombie. And I'm actually using Ray Zombie. Pretty much using any sort of minions. I feel like at the time I stopped using skeletons after this for a little while, and then brought them back. Now, as you saw, I took the usual resistance ascendancy. This is, in my opinion, the real single target tester for builds. Because if you can't take out the Brine King single target damage wise, then you know there's some issues with your build. You got to tweak it here and there. And then the spider is the next one, where you find out whether your resistances might be a bit of an issue as well. My resistances were either really good or really bad. It up and down depending on gear. I ended up using the purity of elements for whenever I switched over and didn't have the resistance, so I was pretty much capped to over capped pretty much the whole time, except for obviously when I changed out certain gears that had a big res. Now this is the next lab, and as you can see, we're doing fairly good damage actually. Now we obviously haven't switched over to the battery yet, so we're still running on mana. Once we do that, we pretty much get out of any mana issues. Once again, nothing really special. I would like to find something awesome, and these are different things you can get. You can actually get experience. I'm pretty sure in the last lab we do get a massive experience boost to our gem if we want to. That time we took the key for a gem I actually picked up during the lab. Take those ascendancy points. Pretty normal for a minion build in my opinion, so I'm not doing anything wild. These purple ones and this boss, he got bugged out on me. I'm not sure whether it's actually bugged out or it's meant to, but he just went over and stood next to a tree. Doing damage. He gets down to half-life and he goes stand next to a tree, and I can't get him past half-life. I can take down his energy shield, I just can't damage his actual life bar. But in the same area, I walked down and found the warlock. And yeah, as I said, check out my short. It's like 30 seconds and you'll be able to have a good idea how to maximize your time in there, in my experience. But if you see him, don't just go talk to him like I did, because you do get attacked from behind. Those purple flowers, generally if you see it, run the other way, because generally that's a point of interest that has a few different enemies like that, and unless you're confident about your damage and your ability to get out of there, it's just better to just leave it alone. Now I can use the bodies of that one plus the jars off the one I actually took, the Warden of Eves. As you can see, I take the actual ascendancy that allows me to use them. Then I decide to focus on trying to get it all done, because I want to get obviously to maps, and actually this ability was kicking my behind, and just sitting and playing was extremely hard and painful. And yeah, as you can see, we're not tanky, but we do have enough of it to actually stay alive, do damage, and actually win out. So the build evolved quite severely from the login to the end of campaign. We actually are squishy, but if we die, it's probably going to be in one shot, or we're going to not notice a bleed and then just move on and just make a mistake. Now I do decide I'm going to pick up 3 bodies for my specters. I'm going to use the specters as the thing, so I'm actually trying to use their mechanics in a way that benefits me, not just or what's cool or what do they do. I want the actual specters to benefit my playstyle. And this guy, he doesn't really get out of his starting gear. He does do a little damage and I get caught out every now and then, but he was fine. And this guy is annoying with his bending ground. I should have done it so the consecrated ground doesn't affect me that much on the stuff, or the bleed on the flask. Once I upgraded, I didn't actually put it back on. I didn't do the gourd power. Like, some things I should have done that I didn't. I just wanted to get the campaign through and I wasn't thinking too well. But yeah, he wasn't that big an issue. It was just me making mistakes, not the actual build damage, anything. That was all fine.
You are condemned.
And you can see the damage is there. And yeah, he gets a little scary at one point. I think we get down to maybe like quarter health when we almost got him. And then
Find your determination.
I think that my minions are going to take care of him, but
Pity
they actually don't do the last little bit of that.
the reprisal.
Ooh, yep, there. And then I have to go in and actually deal with it. That ice spike is actually one of the specters. And there's some more examples. This where I actually get unlucky, but I picked the gem I did because I don't want it leveled. Because I don't want to have to require huge amount of strength. And then obviously I pick a minion ascendancy. Miss the map. And I didn't change gear or anything. I just changed over a little few things and made sure I didn't have too many overlapping resistances. That was that. Do let me know what you think, and bye bye.